Oh, hell yeah! What the fuck is going on, everybody? You're in the Muck. I'm Muck. It's Wednesday. We're late, but I've been busy doing a lot of stuff here and there, guitar wise. So you may be able to see in the background here. I got a template built for what will soon become the first of hopefully a series of guitars that I'm going to build. This one will be a bass guitar. 32-inch scale, be a nice little bit shorter, actually a lot bit shorter than the Thunderbird I have back here. Just the fucking the headstock on this motherfucker is 10 inches long. Just from the nut to the top of the headstock alone is 10 inches. It's an enormous fucking guitar. So this one is considerably shorter. Still a 32-inch scale bass, so you'll still get a lot of good deep low end on there, and hopefully it'll be sounding good. I just need to acquire the machinery to plane and get a jointer and a planer and a couple other pieces of equipment like that, but I have noticed all that shit is sold out too. You can get the industrial size stuff, but I have no interest in spending like fucking $3,000 on a goddamn planer and another $2,000 on a jointer. I'm just gonna get like workbench top sized equipment and should be good enough. I'm not working with enormous sized wood, just probably the biggest size I'll have, 6 inches wide. So you get a 6-inch planer or 6-inch jointer, I should say, and you get some fucking wood all squared up and glued together, and got the template here. You just two-side tape this motherfucker right to the top. Then just take a router and cut the shape of it out. For the front to back profile, it'll be a little more difficult. You basically just sketch out where you're going to cut the bulk of the wood away, and you can just use a fucking jigsaw and just shave the back of that out, and headstock will be angled back 7 degrees. All that good stuff, but I look forward to getting started on that as soon as machinery is available. So I don't know if they're Chinese suppliers that make the parts to build these fucking things. Like, they're all shut down as well. So now you can't do anything. Like, it's beyond toilet paper at this point. Everything is unavailable, and just trying to find a goddamn dust mask so I could sand this fucking thing. Just made an MDF board, and that is some shit you don't want to breathe in, the dust of that, all the glue and stuff that's in there, and it's just bad to, little tiny particulates, just bad to breathe it in. So, buddy of mine works in concrete. He secured some dust masks and earplugs and stuff, so thank you, Beater. It was very appreciated. I was able to get outside and get some sanding done. So it was pretty sweet, and yeah, hopefully at some point by summertime, maybe hopefully by the end of summer, fucking power tools and shit will be available again, so I can, like I said, get a jointer. And absolute necessity is a jointer, a planer, and an oscillating spindle sander. Should make building a guitar relatively easy. And then beyond that, it's a lot of hand chiseling and filing and sanding. So much sanding you couldn't even believe it. But yeah, think about $1,500 worth of equipment, and I'll be raring to rock and roll and cranking out some guitars. And I guess another challenge will be sourcing the wood. The death counts are about to go way up. Yeah, you get conflicting reports on this fucking shit, man. Like, see, or do I have it saved? Okay. So this is from yesterday, May 5th, 2020 at 8:37 a.m. New coronavirus mutation mirrors changes of weakening SARS virus. All right, so what this article is saying is that there's a new mutation in the coronavirus that is showing signs of it. It is weakening, just like the 2003 SARS virus did. Then at the very same time, May 5th, 2020, 10 hours later, this one, 8:35 p.m., scientists say a now dominant strain of the coronavirus could be more contagious than original. So which is it? Is it weakening like SARS, or is it mutated to be more dangerous than ever you could have imagined? I don't know. It's hard to say. No, everyone it's just keep just making shit up. You have yesterday 2 conflicting stories. One says the new mutation is weak. The other one said it's more dangerous than ever. How can it be both at the same time? Someone's lying here. Jesus Christ. This is unbelievable. Don't wear a mask. Wear a mask. Then don't wear a mask. Then everyone hurry up and buy a fucking mask. The death rate is like 0.5%. Yet we're supposed to think that this is the most deadly thing ever. Like, if you're sick, be careful. You got respiratory problems or underlying medical conditions where your immune system sucks. Like every other day, you got to keep out for the cold or the flu or anything like that. So protect yourself. But how can it be both things? It's either mutating to a deadlier strain than you could have ever imagined, or it's now mutated and it's weakened. But it can't be both, yet both motherfucking articles on the same goddamn day. This is, I don't understand. Is this a fucking test just to see if we'll tolerate, like how long we'll tolerate home confinement? Just in case, like protesting or some shit gets too out of control at some point, like a new disease can just show up and the government be like, oh no, remember 2020 when we all had to fucking quarantine because of the thing? Well, this one's even worse. Well, this one was supposed to be even worse than all the other ones, and it's not. Jesus Christ, like how... It doesn't make any fucking sense. Like, none of this. Now people are being arrested and thrown into jail for going outside. Like, fuck you. The town I live in, everything, like... We hang out outside, the cops drive by, they don't say anything. There'll be a little group of us people, like everyone's out for a walk. When it's nice out, everyone's out walking. So you run into some people you stop and you're chit-chatting. Next thing you know, it's 2 or 3 hours later, you're still standing there chit-chatting. More people have showed up. Like, where the fuck are they throwing these, like, why are you, oh my God. So you don't want to put people in confinement, but you're putting people in jail where they're confined. What the fuck is going on here? Is everyone just turned retarded in the last 2 months? No one understands how to... Like, maybe it's just people in general, man. Like, I went to Menards the other day, a home improvement thing. It's like Home Depot, but way better. Like, not ghetto. It looks like an actual nice store. So I go to get MDF board to build this guitar template. They didn't have 4 foot by 2 foot pieces. They had 4 foot by 4 foot. Well, that's not going to fit into the car. So I knew going into it, I've asked before, like, can you cut this fucking lumber for me? That doesn't have to be precise. Just saw it down so I can throw it in the car easy. Oh, sorry, we can't do that. So I brought my own fucking saw this time, just in case they didn't have the 2 foot by 4 foot pieces, which they didn't. So I had to buy the 4 foot by 4. Wouldn't fit in the trunk. So I take it back in. I'm like, I already know what they're going to say. I'm like, hey, can you fucking cut this in half for me so I can get it in my car? You're asking some stupid ass 16 or 17-year-old kid. He has no idea what the fuck is going on or anything. Like, and then he like stumbles around, like looking all confused. Asks another chick where she walks over like, no, sorry, we don't have a saw to do that. And I'm thinking to myself, you're Menards. You're a home improvement store. I just walked past 2 aisles filled with saws. You don't have a saw to cut a piece of wood in half? What? So then I'm like, you got an outlet? I'll do it myself. I brought my own saw. And they're like, nope, we can't let you do that either. So then as I'm walking out of the store, I look at these 2 fucking idiot kids, and I'm like, then don't look at what I'm about to do. Because outside where their light poles are for the parking lot, They got little electrical boxes at the bottom that have 4 outlets in each one. Each power pole has 4 outlets at the bottom. Fucking grab my saw. The dumbass kid that I originally talked to comes out, and now he's looking at me. I'm like, what did I fucking tell you? I'm like, do not look at what I'm doing. So I fucking plug in. Just had a little jigsaw. Just sawed that bitch right down the middle. Unplugged my saw, threw my wood, and left. What the fuck is wrong with these people? You're a home improvement store and you're going to tell me that you don't have a saw to cut wood in half? Then I'm going to do it myself. I'm going to steal 1 cent of your electricity and saw my own fucking wood in your parking lot, you fucking idiots. Jesus Christ. Like, why is society this way? Why is everyone like, oh no, we can't do that? What the fuck do you mean you can't do that? Yes, you can. I just did it in your parking lot. Why can't you do it? Or why can't you just have a station set up where I sign a waiver because I'm so fucking stupid I don't understand how to just like a saw where I might cut my arms off. I'll sign a waiver. Just have a station where I can get the shit in my fucking car, you dumb motherfuckers. Jesus Christ. And you're just going to stare at me with your fucking jaw open like, as I'm cutting up. Like the concept of cutting wood in half is just beyond all of you. I like Menards. They got a good selection of everything you could possibly need. But man, the fucking people, why you have kids working there, I don't get it. None of these kids know anything about woodworking or home improvement or tools, fixtures, fasteners, nothing. I asked a dude, can you saw a piece of wood in half for me? And he looked like I just asked him, build a nuclear bomb for me immediately or I'm going to kill you. That was the look on his face like, what? I asked you to cut a piece of wood in half, man. Yeah. The only people in their mid-40s, like the people that had any common sense, they were all guarding the door. There was like 9 employees guarding the entry door, forcing you to buy a mask. And it's just like a surgical mask if you didn't have one of your own. And then they had like, in case you slipped by the first line of defense, they had like 3 rings of just employees guarding the door. Like, I'm surprised they didn't have fucking machine guns. This is so out of control. I didn't have to wear gloves though. I could go in that store and touch every fucking thing that I wanted to. Nobody said a word. I was just rifling through sandpaper like, I wonder if anyone's going to say anything to me. I can touch this stuff. I can rub my fucking eyes and pick my nose and touch all the sandpaper and the wrenches and everything like that. But, oh my God, I can't breathe without a fucking mask. This is all a joke. It's all for show. You're not slowing the spread of anything down. Anyone can just touch anything. You can rub your fucking eyes and just touch anything you want. Jesus Christ. What is this, just like a money grab now so you can make 40 cents per fucking mask off of everyone? Because that motherfucking place was packed. Dude, Menards was packed. Really nice day over the week, or a couple nice days over the weekend. Everyone getting out there and getting their fucking home improvement and shit done, but I don't know what we're fucking doing with this virus stuff. Again, if you're sick, you got health problems, be careful. You're the one that should be doing the mask stuff and putting the gloves on, but like, I already fucking had it and beat it. I beat the virus. Bam! Punched him right in the face. COVID 2020. Ka-clow! Look, I got the old virus. I made this fucking shirt. I'll make all of you I beat the virus t-shirts if you want them. That's what I do, man. Sublimation printing. That's what this is. There's no image printed on the shirt. It's the shirt. It stretches. Like, good luck with your screen printed shirt getting that shit to stretch. You can't feel it at all. It's just, you like precision dye the fiber of the shirt. It's crazy. So I'm not saying that everyone just to fucking go out and start fucking making out with each other and all that good shit, but let's start getting back to normal here. Well, that's the thing. The people that I do know that have died from it, Like, I don't know any personally, but my like family friends, because my parents are old, so their friends are old, and those like friends of those people have been dying. But that again, it's like we know that these things exist. So then, if you're old, and so if you're like over 55-ish, it seems like take better care of yourself, eat better, which is a good start. Of course, by the time a virus happens, if you haven't been eating well, nothing's going to help you. You got to fuel your body and like let it build the strength and the ability to fight stuff off to at least give you a chance. But if you already got underlying medical conditions that are fucking killing you, there's really not much that can be done for you. We shouldn't have to shut down the world in these situations. I mean, come on, we got to be realistic here. Yes, I miss concerts too, man. Fuck. Shared needles. I mean, we were sharing needles back in the 90s, and then we realized, like, oh, yeah, we should probably... I've never done intravenous drugs. Just doesn't... Seems like way too much work. There's other ways to get high and have fun. I don't know. I like weed. I'll just stick to weed. Give me a beer or like a mixed drink or something to keep the old whistle wet during it, but prefer water above all. If you're getting blazed up, nothing beats water. Soda is about the worst. Ugh. It just makes me even thirstier, and that sugary, like acidy, like, well, my mouth is already dry to begin with, and now you're putting that on top. Sweet tea, like lemonade's too tart. Not high, lemonade's awesome. But yeah, high, give me some fucking sweet tea. That would be the best. Sweet tea, water, followed up by that. Yeah, especially like, well, in Wisconsin, you don't have very many options for concerts. For like, cool, we got a new place in Madison, but holds like 2,500 people. It's pretty sweet. I sat all the way, like, and I saw Ghost there. Went all the way to the back, like dead center, like all the way in the back, like it's only like 2 levels. There's no bad seat in that place, unless maybe you're a short person on floor level. But even the floor level seemed like slightly graded, maybe like a degree or 2, which was nice. But yeah, I like medium side, like little venues like that where you're below like a basketball arena. You get like 2,000 to 4,000 people in a place, and that seems like the perfect, and it's for acoustics and everything, because you can be at the way back, and you're like what you're seeing is still gonna sync up with what you're hearing. Where I saw Velvet Revolver at the Palace of Auburn Hills, where the Pistons play, and it like before then I never saw a concert in a basketball arena, so I didn't know. I figured, yeah, it's small enough we can sit at the far end and get a whole good eagle eye view of it, but nope. Like everything was like a half second delayed because it was just far enough away. Luckily, there was this other couple that I ran into. Like I was trying to upgrade my tickets, like swap out with anyone, like I'll fucking trade you tickets plus give you like $50 or whatever. And finally found a couple that was willing to do that. They had like general admission on the floor tickets, but the girlfriend didn't want to stand the whole time. So I even told them, I'm like, you're going to be like, that's where you are. You're up there on that level. And she was cool with that. So yeah, it only cost me $50 more to upgrade to floor seats, standing. There was no seats down there, but it was really good. We were probably like 25 yards back from the stage. So probably like I don't know how big a basketball court is. Maybe more like just beyond where half court was. So like farther than half court away. Next to this old biker couple, like some old grizzled biker man and his old lady. And they sparked up a joint and he let me hit it. And whoo, that was some, whatever the fuck they're going. It wasn't like PCP or anything like that. It was just like extremely good weed. So I don't know where this biker was scoring his shit from, but it was awesome. Biker joints get the job done. Dude, they don't fuck around. They must got some type of Mexican cartel connection where they're getting the good stuff. coming out of Mexico. That's not all that fucking brickweed shit. It just sucks. Yeah, it would be. That's one of the. And baseball, I was looking forward to baseball. Like shit was like, I'm a Brewers fan. Season was looking like we never have good starting pitching, so you don't even waste your time. Like, are they gonna get pitching this year? But dude, we literally have like the best offensive baseball player, the best reliever. If you want an eighth or ninth inning, I don't know if Hader is officially a closer. It's seems to be always fluctuating in Brewer land. And then some young dudes coming up, like Keston Hiura, second baseman, this little Asian dude that can just smash the fucking leather off the ball. Like, it is nuts. Oh, that would have been awesome at that. Because, okay, if there was Coke in that joint, like, I've tried that before. It just like, okay, it doesn't really seem to do much. I can't remember what we used to call that. Damn it. I don't know. We had a name for it if you put a little in the end of your joint. Even on cigarettes, we'd do that. But yeah. Want to go? Fuck, I was so looking forward to baseball. Everything was looking real good for the Brewers. It's sadly the last year that Miller Park is going to be called Miller Park. Which Wisconsin legislation should have put the fucking rule, like made a law where for as long as the Brewers exist in Milwaukee, the stadium they play in has to be called Miller Park. Whether or not Miller is physically sponsoring them or not, it just makes the most sense. The Brewers playing at Miller Park. And then it was cool to have the fucking beer rivalries, man. The Cardinals play at Busch Stadium. The Rockies play at Coors Field. Right? So, damn it, fuck American Family Insurance. What kind of bullshit is this? American Family Field. Fuck you. That stadium is Miller Park, and it will always be Miller Park. Just like before they built it, like no matter what sponsor, nobody would have wanted to sponsor Old County Stadium. That place was just a shithole. But no matter what you would have called it, it always would have been Milwaukee County Stadium. So we're losing the last year of Miller Park. We don't even get to fucking do like a farewell to like 20 awesome years of like the coolest sponsorship that just made the perfect sense. Oh, you want to go to FedEx Field? Who gives a fuck that FedEx is sponsoring a field? Unless your sports team, it's like the Miami Packages playing at FedEx Field, which would make sense, right? Man, we got the Brewers playing at Miller Park. It doesn't get any better than that. That is absolutely perfect. And now we're getting robbed of the last year of that. Let's petition, God damn it, internet. Band together. I'm not saying we boycott, but I say we petition that because the virus fucked everything up so bad that we get 5 more years of Miller Park before American Family rolling on into 2025. So maybe we could do something. We could pressure something in tiny little letters like Miller Park. Brought to you by American Family Insurance. Like tiny, tiny little letters where if you're on the ground, because right now, if you're at Miller Park, like standing at the base of Miller, like looking at Miller Park, it says Miller Park in enormous letters, like where the home plate, like back of the park is, looking out towards the interstate. So if you were standing there, you would need binoculars, if not a small telescope, to see brought to you by American Family Insurance. Because I don't care what the sponsorship is. I can make my own shirts. I'm going to make protest shirts every time I make towels. Like I've made when they did the clinch the NL Central in 2018. I had towels and shit made up. I was selling them in the parking lot. Made like $100 selling towels. It was pretty good. fuck American Family. It doesn't make any sense. Unless you're going to change the team, instead of the Brewers, we're now the Insurers. I'm sure they would probably love that, but it's just a shame. Miller Park is the best. Our roof is the coolest. They got this opening fucking shell fucking roof thing. It's awesome. They used to, for years after they first opened it, after every fucking home game, like after the game, they would just open it and shut it for you. Like you could see it. And it'd take like 15 minutes to fully open and then another 15 to like shut or however. Unless it was raining, then they wouldn't give you the show. But if it was a nice night, if the roof was open, they'd shut it and then open it for you after each game. But now they don't do that. It seems extremely expensive to move that much weight. Even though it's on like little electric trains, it's just trains on tracks that just open the fucking thing. But I don't know. I hope at least they're saying that the baseball will start. You can play at home stadiums and shit, but no one's going to be there. No fucking point to it. Just do a simulated season then. Like if you can't go and like watch the game, like obviously most people watch the vast majority of their games on TV, but all you have to do is watch like a fucking Marlins game, a Marlins home game, and you will see how devastatingly boring that would be. To watch baseball on TV with no one in the stands. Dude, Miami is lucky if they pull in like 5,000 people for a game. And no one cheers. Like no one just, I don't know if they got sweet deals on beer or what. You're just going there to fucking get hammered? I don't know. But it'll be that level of patheticness. And just don't even do it. If that's going to be the thing, playing the empty arenas, fuck it, don't even do it. Just do like what YouTubers are doing and what the baseball schedule originally was. You're just simulating on like the show or whatever, MLB The Show. You're just simulating the games, and here's your fucking baseball season. That would be more entertaining because at least there would be fake crowd noise from the game that you would hear cheering and stuff. Playing to an empty stadium, fuck you. Don't even play the fucking game. That would be so boring and just depressing. If people already complain that baseball's boring enough, well, I would argue that soccer is the most boring thing because there is a lot of running around for nothing to happen. At least in baseball, you're sort of just like strolling up there, kicking some dirt off your shoes and taking your time and everything. And here we go. And all right. It's a fucking pastime. And then when exciting shit does happen, it's crazy. Like fucking games that I've seen at Miller Park. Jesus, I used to go to like 15 games a year for a good 5-year chunk. I saw the triple play happen with the Prince Fielder, Casey McGee, I think Weeks. Oh, Christ. Ricky Weeks. He was in on that. I saw in person, I've seen these things. I saw the Brewers hit 5 home runs in 1 inning off of 3 different pitchers. Oh, the WWE is they're holding things to an empty arena. Like they're having full events just in an empty arena. I thought their whole thing was like they could just start going back to normal again. Because I seen like a week or two ago, they're like, of course, Florida, the governor or whatever of Florida is like, WWE is essential and we're starting it again. But it's just to empty arenas then. That would be funny though, because it is all like fake and predetermined anyway. So that would... I don't watch wrestling. I can't stand it. Like I don't like soap operas and stuff. It's just not my thing. But I think that would be funny. Like they're hyping up the crowd and all this, doing all this shit, like distracted by the crowd while the other dude sneaks up on you, even though there's no crowd there. That'd be pretty funny. But oh, damn it. Competitive sports, just don't even do it. Shut it down until we're going to fucking get back to normal here and stop pretending like we're all going to die when almost nobody but already sick people are dying. But then they say, oh no, some kids have died. Like, oh shit. Well, what was wrong with those kids? You got some lung problems? There you go. Pretty sure like the vast majority of us have already had this. I had like a month and a half ago by now, I had the symptoms of it. Scratchy throat for like 3 or 4 days. I was sneezing all the time. My nose was not stuffy. It was running, just like continuously fluid running out of my nose for like 3 or 4 days. I guess a little more sleepy. I sleep like shit, so I'm usually tired all the time anyway, but taking more naps than usual, I guess. And it was like just one of those things where you're like sort of teetering on the edge, like, oh no, am I getting strep throat or am I getting the flu or something? And then it just goes away. So I'm pretty sure like most of it, and then they say a lot of people have 0 symptoms. So like I'm 40, so maybe I'm at the level where my body is like, oh, we gotta like actually fight, and you're gonna feel sick because like we're fighting something. And then like the older you get, the worse it is. It's like, oh shit, I got pneumonia from it. And then you're even older than that. It's like, oh no, like I'm drowning in my own lung fluid. But yeah, I guess luckily, I mean, so me assuming that I have had it and recovered or whatever, I was afraid, honestly afraid, because at my old job at a Pepsi bottler, I worked quality assurance, and we'd spray down the RO machines with a heavily diluted acid. It's called Divasan Plus. If you want to Google the MSDS on that, it is some nasty shit. Well, I thought I was going to really teach that mold a lesson, and I went like a 50-50 ratio on it, and that was way too powerful. Like, somehow you instinctively know, like your brain is like, no, you're not breathing this in. And it like physically shut my ability to breathe. Like I was trying to like take a breath in. It's like, oh my God. And then like my eyes start burning and shit. I'm like, oh no, I'm like gassing myself here. So then I ran outside and like get some fresh breath. Luckily it was winter out. So you got some nice cool air, which feels good. Catch my breath again. And yeah, so I was worried about that, like how, because it's peracetic acid and hydrogen peroxide with dashes of other bullshit is what Divasan Plus is. And it smells like really potent pickle brine. Like it's nasty. It's like, God damn, this stuff is pungent. I was afraid like, okay, so you're breathing in super concentrated. It's in like vapor in the air. I've had it splash on my skin before, and it's immediate, just boiling, just because that hydrogen peroxide hitting the moisture of your skin, and it's letting the acid like eat into flesh, which is just rife with moisture, and just like you can almost hear it, but you can physically see it bubbling and boiling on your skin. So I'm like, oh great, what did this do to the inside of my fucking lungs? But apparently, like I didn't have any like asthma, like tightening symptoms or coughing or anything. Like I just went outside. I got a couple breaths that in, and my body's like, nope, you ain't breathing any more of this. Like physically stopping my ability to force air into my lungs. So dodged a bullet there. Whew. That would have been fucking. Because I guess like damaged lungs is prime real estate for this fucking coronavirus. So. Plus all the smoking and shit that I do, like, it's at least that's starting to make me think, like, all right, yeah, like you're not 20 and 30 no more, being cool, smoking the night away. Probably look into cutting that out entirely. But other than that, I don't know. Well, see, like I'm saying, we most likely, a lot of us have already had it. It seems like, and then the whole thing with hydroxychloroquine or whatever, how that has just disappeared from the news now because it's killing more people than not using it. Holy Christ. But I thought it was a miracle cure. It was supposed to be like, this is, oh my God, how amazing this is. Like, no. Maybe this is just one of those things in life where, like, if you get sick, you're going to die. How crazy. Like, so the other night, I sliced my fucking pinky. Like, I filleted a good chunk of my pinky on this piece of aluminum. So there was a flap that, so it went in thin and then rapidly got thick as it went in. So the thick end was still very much secured to my hand. Like I initially tried pulling it off. I'm like, oh shit, like that's too thick to rip this fucking flap of skin. So I just folded it back down after I like washed it up and stuff and have had it bandaged. So that this was Sunday. Yeah, Sunday I cut it. And so then Monday, I had been changing the bandages every time I would get my hands wet because obviously it's like a sponge in there and you don't want dampness, you want it dry. So I was looking, I'm like, okay, so far so good. Like everything doesn't look like it's infected or anything. And so I checked it on Monday and I noticed that the flap had like kicked sideways. So I'm like, oh no, that doesn't look right. So I started peeling the flap back. And I noticed like it had started to heal itself to the wound part. So I'm like, oh shit, like, is that bad? Like if I let it heal across, like, am I going to have this weird fucking lump of skin on my finger forever? So I tried peeling that back and that's when I noticed like I could start seeing the underside of the flap of skin and it was still like blood vessel ends or whatever. So it was like all red. I'm like, oh no, that the flap of skin is still alive. Like, is it bad that it's healing? And then right there, I noticed like, oh shit, like I think I'm going to pass out. And then I remember looking in the mirror to see if I was turning pale. And then the fucking lights went out. And then all of a sudden I came to, so now I'm wedged against the wall in my bathtub. So my shoulder hurts like hell. So I must have just like, timber backwards. Cause I remember, okay, so I remember looking in the mirror like, oh shit, I think I'm going to pass out. And then I remember I tried to turn to the door because I'm like, I got to lay down immediately. And then it must have been like when I turned towards the door is when I started to tip over because there's like a wooden built-in shelf thing into the wall. I'm pretty sure I smashed into that. So just like almost made it to the door, but just like missed it and just smashed into the wall. And then, because then I came to, I was like wedged up against the wall and I was talking to myself. I'm like, what the hell? Oh shit. Like I thought I had died. And then my cat was standing there looking at me like, what the fuck is this idiot's problem? And I'm like, hey, Pepper. And all I could hear was like my heartbeat in my ears. I was just drenched in sweat. And then that's when I had like enough clarity because I could feel myself fading out again. I'm like, oh my God, like, am I dying? Like, did I hit my head extremely hard? Am I dying? What the fuck? So then I'm like trying to force my eyes open, but everything is just fading to black. And I remember like kicking my feet up and put them up on the toilet. And then it took like 2 minutes. And then it just, I could feel like my heartbeat was getting quieter and quieter in my ears. Like everything started to get tingly. So like blood flowing again. That I haven't passed out in like 15 years, man. Like I've injured myself countless times. Some more severe than others. Like when I was a kid, I was sanding this piece of wood in a disc sander in shop class. And there was like an inch gap between the plate and then the disc sander blade. And I fucking somehow the sander kicked it down in and my finger went right into it. So like everything from my whole nail was gone from where the end of my nail is like an angle. So like my whole fingernail was gone and it was just like like that. didn't pass out from that. I had the Band-Aid fucking healed to the inside of that wound. And I remember like soaking it in hot water and just like, okay, here we go. Slowly. Yeah, we got it. It's peeling off. Okay, there we go. Never passed out. Like my head, I don't know how, if you can see it, but right here, I smashed my face on the edge of the sidewalk when I was 6. All busted to bits. I had them set mirrors up so I could see them stitch my face together. I didn't pass out. Like I passed out when I impacted. Like I was in and out of consciousness a few times, but injuries to myself, this is the first time I've ever passed, and I don't know why. All of a sudden, I'm just like, oh, that flap of skin is still alive? And then like I just felt like the draining. And usually, like, if I stand up too fast, you get, like, that low blood pressure for a few seconds, and it's like, whoa, okay, breathe, like, because shit starts, like, tunneling down. It's like, oh, no, I'm gonna... You don't feel like you're still, like, powering your body, but it's like, oh, my God, like, my vision, what the fuck is going on here? This was just like, oh, that flap of skin is still alive. Uh-oh, I'm gonna pass out. And I tried to make a break for the door, and then it was just lights out. But, oh, man, did I sleep really good after that. Like, I was up for a little bit, like, drank a bunch of water, ate some fucking saltines and peanut butter. I'm like, okay, I think everything's good here. And then, like, it was, like, trembly and stuff, like a really fatigue feeling. So then I just took, like, a 3-hour nap, woke up from that, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, I feel great. Like, I just had a little coma. Yeah, I've been putting, I usually do just isopropyl alcohol. I got like 70%. That's usually what I do. Yeah. That was crazy. Hopefully that's not a new thing that I do. Because I've visiting like friends and family in hospitals. I've passed out from that before. Like seeing them all fucked up when they got tubes and stuff in them. And like if they're like discolored, like a lot of times people kind of look greenish or something in a hospital. Mike, it seems to be when I watch other people. Because I remember in elementary school, like we watched an eye surgery, like some type of cornea surgery. I had to look away and like lean down and put my head between my legs because I was going to pass out. Like visiting like my grandpa in the hospital, I passed out. A buddy of mine was in a car accident and broke his arm. Went in to visit him and seeing him like all the tubes and shit and he's all like drugged out of his mind, passed out. But I've injured myself so many times. Oh yeah, I like the burn. That's how I know it's working. I'm just weird like that, but not that I'm into like pain or like I'm a cutter, but it's just like, yeah, I want to know like this stuff is in that wound and probably burning up some stuff it shouldn't, but it's always served me well. But yeah, if it's other people, unless it is like an emergency happening, because then my instinct is just like, help that person. So a couple jobs ago, I worked at this place where we built reed switches. And those are like little, imagine 2 little pieces of metal that are like boat oars. And the tip of the paddle parts overlap and have a specified gap in between them and a specified overlap amount between them. And they're inside of a cylindrical piece of glass that's hermetically sealed to the leads of these metal boat oar things. And they're all real small. Like the biggest one we made, the glass was like just under an inch long. The biggest one, the small is like a grain of rice. They're tiny. And they're in everything, like your fridge, your car, like your laptop has them. And they're just like a magnetically induced switch. That's what a reed switch is. You put it next to a source of magnetism and those contacts connect, completes a circuit, and now something cool happens that you want to happen. So we made those, and it was just basically like a spinning platform that would like rotate from station to station. So there'd be like a glass loading station and like the reed, the metal part, like the reed loading station. So the machine would like advance and then sit there for the amount of time it took for the process to happen and then advance again. And it's the same thing over and over again. Well, this maintenance man was working on one of these, And there's like a less than a quarter inch of clearance between where the ram for the part that puts the glass into the head, because there's like 13 heads that go in a circle. So every time a head stops at this glass thing, a ram comes out, and like a little arm on the side of the ram hits a lever that opens up this thing so the glass can go in, and as the ram backs away, it lets go of the thing, and now there's like a little jaw that holds the glass in. In between, like, where the head comes up to the fucking glass loading station, it's like less than a quarter of an inch. So a maintenance man was like leaning over the machine, working on this thing, and his hip fucking hit the cycle start. So the machine advanced and it pulled his hand in between these two things where it's got to be so, your hand has to be so pliable, it's unbelievable. So I'm on my way, I'm walking out of the room to go to get a drink of water. And I heard somebody saying something like loudly, and I'm looking around, but I couldn't see anything. It was just like, hey, hey. And I'm looking around, I'm like, who the fuck is saying that? So I thought like someone was just fucking with me, like yelling hey at me, and then there's like ducking behind something, because we'd like prank and joke around and shit quite a bit. So I leave, run into another dude. I'm in the hallway for like 45 seconds, get a drink, talk to this dude for a little bit. Now I come back in, and the maintenance guy is on the ground, and another maintenance woman looks like she had just saw a murder take place. Like, she is just like shock-eyed, like expression on her face is like, oh my God. So I walk in the room, and they're like 15 feet in front of me, and all I see is this dude's head on the ground, like poking out from behind one of these machines. And then right then she turns around and she's like getting an ambulance. So I'm like, whoa. So I reopened the door. I just came back in. And right then this team leader, Guru, this Indian guy, he's rounding the corner to go into where I'm just coming out of. So I'm like, call an ambulance. And then he didn't even ask like, what? He just immediately took off like a bolt of lightning. So then I come back in, and now the maintenance woman who had freed the maintenance man from the machine, she is like in shock. So she is like got herself physically like arm up against the machine, just like bent over like, oh my God. And this dude is on the ground, like face up, passed out. So I immediately go to him and I'm like, Joe, hey, you all right, man? Like seeing if he's breathing, look for a pulse, all that good stuff. And then he comes to and he's like soaked in sweat, comes to and immediately tries to get up. I'm like, oh, hang on. Like you just got your hand caught in that machine. Cool it for a little bit. Like, I know you're coming to and it's very confusing, but I'm going to take care of you. He's like, all right. He just passed out again. He like went back to sleep. So now I'm like, okay, somebody get a stool, because like we had footstools everywhere, because you'd stand up on some of the shorter people, like you'd have to stand up on your little stool so you could put, there's like this aluminum thing that sort of like funneled down into this cog wheel, and that's where you would put your glass. So there'd be like thousands of cylindrical pieces of glass like laying on their sides, so like all like stacked together side by side, and then they'd like sort of like filter their way down on top of this cog wheel that would turn, and like air would blow it to the ram, and then the ram would go out and put it in the machine, which I actually had 2 design modifications to those machines, which was pretty cool. And then we all got fired and they sent everything to the Philippines. But anyway, so I go to help the guy. I'm like, get a stool, commanding people like, get me this, get me that. And that's when I noticed like his hand was laying across his chest like this, like palm down. And I could see on the back of it, like it was stamped in, like someone took a metal fucking stamp and just chunk, stamped the outline of like the machine head deep. Like I always thought these were bones, but I don't know, they're like tendons or something. It was depressed, like it bounced back, it healed normally, but the whole time that he was on the ground and I was helping him, he had like a 1/8 inch depression in the back of his hand. I'm like, what the fuck? So I lift that up, and then I look at the palm of his hand, and it was just like black, looked like grease, But then I looked closer, and it was like the palm of his hand was torn open, and I was seeing inside the palm of his hand. So that's when I'm like, oh shit, like someone get me like a flexible rubber tube, because I had no idea about puncture wounds or anything like that. But luckily, like, so the glass on these machines is sealed with super bright fucking halogen lights, and it is hot. These machines are very hot to the touch. Certain parts of them are very hot to the touch, unless you've let them just sit for like 5 minutes, and then it cools down pretty quick. So I'm assuming it like cauterized from the heat. But I couldn't believe that. I looked, so I thought like, oh my God, like when he comes to and his heart starts like pumping blood again and shit like that, like, is this going to start spurting blood all over the fucking place? So I had someone get it like a rubber tube, and then I didn't like cinch it around his arm, but like, okay, we put it around and like snugged it. So like, okay, we got this just in case. We got the stool. Now he's coming in and out of consciousness more frequently. Now he's like actually staying awake and talking. So the machine makes reed switches, like REED switches. Like you'd have to Google it. It's like two little metal boat oars. The ends of them overlap, and they're inside a cylindrical piece of glass that is sealed, and there's nitrogen pumped inside. And then the ends are sealed with heat from super focused light bulbs. It's a pretty cool process. They're in tons of stuff, like the space station has them, the like missile guidance systems, your fridge, your car, your laptop, like old flip phones would have them. It's just a magnetically induced switch is what we would make like millions of them a week. And so, yeah, that's when I looked at his fucking hand. I'm like, fuck, his hand is torn open. So I didn't know who the like first responder emergency people were. It turns out like my supervisor was one, and this other dude Carl was one. But again, they didn't have it posted anywhere. So when a bad thing happens, like who are you supposed to go get here? So I literally took care of this guy until the fucking paramedics showed up, which luckily we were like directly across the street from the paramedics building. So yeah, as soon it was like less than 5 minutes, they were already inside. So everyone, like I work second shift, and this was kind of late at night, but for some reason they called in the HR lady. So she came in, and my supervisor, like all these people were thanking me, like, hey, thanks for fucking springing into action and helping Joe out, man. I'm like, well, I didn't even think about it. Like I walked in the room, and all of a sudden, like I see Diane's face, and she's like, get an ambulance. And I'm like, oh my God, like something serious. I see Joe on the floor, like just his head poking out from behind this machine. I thought he was dead. So when I came back in, like no one was helping Joe yet. So I'm like, what the fuck? Someone had to. The next day, so the day that it happened, everyone was so grateful and thankful, and oh my God, thank you so much. The next day I had to have a meeting with like the plant manager and all this shit. Like I was on the verge of being fired because I wasn't like certified first aid responder thing. I'm like, I will sue you in any way humanly possible if you even attempt to fucking punish me in any way for helping out this person. No one else came to his help. My supervisor, who was the first aid person, was directly behind, like after she called 911, she was standing directly behind me. She never stepped in and be like, hey, I'm one of the first responder people. I'll take it from here, Mike. She literally, because I was like ordering people, like, get me this, get me that. And I would look directly at the person and say like, specifically, like, get me this. And if they wouldn't do it, I'd be like, hey, and, like yell at them. Cause everyone is just like jaw dropped, like, whoa, is Joe going to be all right? Like, how fucked up is his hand? 99% of people don't do anything. Like they're just frozen when these bad things happen. Like credit to the maintenance lady. She was mean as fuck. She hated everyone. But like after this situation, like she respected me for some reason. Probably because like even she was like in shock. People that watched her were like, dude, it was like a fucking NASCAR tire change. Like all you saw was just bolts flying off of this fucking thing and parts. Like she was just all by hand. Like she's been there for like 30 fucking years. So she was just like, whoa, ripping shit out. But then she got him free and he just collapsed to the ground. And then that must have sent her into shock. Like, oh my God, is Joe dead? So no one else helped him. And then they were going to like consider punishing me. I'm like, no, you ain't. Like, I will fucking destroy you motherfuckers. Because even a few days later when Joe came back, his arm was all slinged up and bandaged all up. He gave me a big ass hug. He just walks right up. He had like misty eyes and shit. He's like, thank you so much, man. He's like, from what I understood, no one else was helping me. Like, you're the only person that came over to help me. I'm like, I didn't even think about it. I didn't even like, oh, okay, I like Joe. Yeah, I guess I'll go help him. It was just like, damn, this person's fucked up. Like, we should help him. So then at my next job at the Pepsi bottler, I demanded that I be on the first aid thing. So then I was properly trained and certified. And honestly, aside from like how to like move a person, because sometimes like if you know what the injury is, you can move them. So if you know it's not like a neck or a spinal injury, you can turn them on their side and like roll them into different positions that benefit you trying to render aid to them. So I didn't know how easy it was to move a body, even like a fat person. You can easily roll them along. All you have to do is know how to position their fucking arms, and then everything just sort of falls over. So you get the gist of it. It's like 30 chest compressions and then blow in like 5 or 7 times. But Jesus Christ, CPR is no joke, man. Because how hard you have to do it, you're going to destroy their sternum. Like, you're busting their sternum. You're probably going to fucking fracture some ribs. But you have to fucking give it. Because you got to, like, smash that down enough to physically squeeze the heart. Like, it's not like, obviously, they can't do it to a human in a movie or a TV show, but I bet you're fucking pushing down 2 to 3 inches in that fucking chest cavity, like, every time. So doing it on a mannequin, they kind of have it like a point where you push so far enough and then it almost feels like it gives. So you know, like, oh my God, I have to get to that point. Doing it on a human being, you're smashing bone. Like, you're going to be fucking busting bone, man. Yeah. That was the only injury I saw there. There was a couple other ones. One included the maintenance engineer. So then they finally put in, it was a 2-button start system. No more 1 button to start these fucking machines. Like, you got to do 2 buttons now. So, fuck. No serious injuries after I was all trained up and stuff. But a friend of mine was over here and she has this thing called 5 minutes of blindness where if she has a couple drinks and then like smokes a little bit and then she stands up and starts walking around, like she'll pass out. She fucking cracked her head on my kitchen countertop, man. And oh my God, that was like a V-shaped gash, like skin split open gash. But luckily I know what to do. I have gloves and shit like that. And cleaned it on up. Told her when she got home, fucking get some soap up in there and get all that product out of your hair. I did what I could with isopropanol and no infection. She healed up just fine. But yeah, I don't know why society is this way. Like, it's so everyone's terrified of lawsuits and oh my God, you're better off just letting this person die than fucking help them. Because if you fuck it up, now their relatives can sue you and all. It's just a fucking. Everyone wants the easy way out. Doesn't matter like what your intentions are. Like, hey man, I was trying to fucking help them. Because that's another thing. Because I'm like certified and like licensed or whatever. I think all I got is like a credit card type thing where it's like you're good for 2 or 3 years or something like that. After like a 4-hour class. So whatever. So damn it, I forgot where I was going with that. But shit. Yeah, I'm sure it was super important anyway, but oh yeah, so like how quick to sue everyone is, or how afraid of being sued places are. That's probably why Menards wouldn't cut the piece of wood for me. But like have a professional fucking sawman on hand where it's like, hey, Jerry, we need this piece of wood cut in half. Like, all right. And then you just grab a fucking circular saw and zzz, there you go. That's weird. Then you take it upon yourself and everyone fucking just looks at you like, oh my God, I can't believe this person is doing that. Like, I don't want to get back into the whole Menards rant again, but fuck, these people act like cutting a piece of wood in half is just the most foreign concept to them. You work in a place where it's just floor to ceiling lumber and lighting and bathroom kitchen sinks and there's saws everywhere, but you just can't, the concept of fucking cutting one of them things? Good God! What are you, from the future? God, this fuckboy mentality. Like, it's a, not even Generation Z or X or whatever. I don't even fucking millennial. All can fuck yourself. They're all made up anyway. Like, none of the generation things mean anything or make any sense. It's just, you're all fuckboys. All of you. It's all you are. If you work at a home improvement store and somebody asks you a question and your first reaction is to just shit your pants and look terrified, get out of there! Go work at a fucking flower shop, you fuckboy. Jesus Christ. Such a helpless society we seem to be like morphing into. Like when I was a kid, there was none of that. Like you needed something, you went to a store and you needed something done. Like, hey man, I just went to the hardware store. I need a copper pipe for my fucking kitchen sink, but I don't want to buy all the tools to like do this one job. I know the measurements. Can you just cut it for me? Hell yeah. No problem. Are you putting a fitting, like an angle on there? We'll whip that shit up for you too. It should just sneak right on in there. Not anymore, man. Now you walk into a fucking place and they just look at you like, you want me to do what with what? Huh? Fuck all of you fuck boys, you helpless little bitches. Like, what the fuck are you gonna do? Like, how are you going to survive on your own? Are you the generation of people where you just never leave your parents? What is with that? What is with that fucking thing now? People just live with their parents their whole life? Are women cool with this? You're cool with going to a dude's place and it turns out like, oh my God, it's his parents' house? This guy's like 33 years old. What the fuck? This red-haired cunt working at Menards, you fucking piece of shit. You are so fucked for the rest of your life. I worked at Menards when I was a kid. Like, I don't know, like 17, 18 or something like that. People ask you a question, like if you don't know, just be like, come on, let's go find out. It's not, no one is going to be mad at you for being like, I don't know the answer to every possible question that every human could answer or ask me. Saying I don't know doesn't make people mad. Standing there like, just like all shifty-eyed, terrified, like, are you in the process of shitting your pants right now? Just because I asked you a question, like, come on, dickhead, what are you doing here? Can you cut a piece of wood for me or not? Yes or no? There's no reason to fucking panic. Jesus Christ. And when I was that age, I worked in the fucking shipping and receiving. So customer Joe would come back with his fucking sales receipt and he ordered a fucking door that's up on top. I'm not much older than this fucking red-haired cunt that couldn't even tell me if I could cut a piece of wood or not. You grab the piece of paper. Here's the door they ordered. It tells you, you get the general idea. It's like an oak door. I know where the oak doors are. You go up there, you look for the fucking, they all got big stickers on them. Match the number on the work order to the sticker on the door. Be like, oh, there's the fucking door they ordered. Put it on your little cart thing. Go back down to the ground. Here's your door, sir. Whoa! So complicated. I can't believe I was able to do that as a kid. Holy fuck. I must be super genius. It's unbelievable. The fucking girl that this red-haired fuck boy, asked looked younger than him. To her credit, she had confidence. She walked over and she's like, nah, I'm sorry. Like, we don't do that here. Like, we don't have that service. And I'm like, all right, then I'm going to use an outlet. She's like, I can't let you do that either. I'm like, then don't watch what I'm going to do. And to her credit, she didn't. But that dumb redheaded fuckboy did. You better believe that dumb piece of shit followed me outside and just stood there like an idiot watching me go to the car and get a saw, plug it into this outlet next to the fucking light pole. And before, like, I had the saw in my hand, the board, before I even began sawing, I just stopped and I turned. I'm like, I already told you, like, don't look at what I'm about to do. Like, how fucking stupid are you? I should have just sawed his fucking head right off. Done society a favor. Get rid of this fucking guy. You have no business reproducing. We don't need your worthless fucking genetics in the gene pool, pal. One, you're a fuckboy. Two, you're just red hair. Get out of here. You're fucking worthless. Go make floral arrangements for the rest of your life. You can't. Why you are working at a fucking home improvement store is beyond me. Oh, Christ. So, yeah, there's an hour interwoven ramble about how much I hate the fucking kids that work at Menards. Old coworker of mine, Dave, he works at Ace in Watertown, Wisconsin, and that dude knows his shit. Anytime I'll be like, what the fuck is the thing that I need to do this type of stuff? And he'd just be like, no, you're going to need one of that, and that. And be like, great. You got him at Ace? How got him? I'll get him there for you. Bring him right to work. Pay him. Oh, this is great. Or just leave work while I'm at work and go to the store myself. Dude, I do that all the time. Oh, I feel slow right now. I feel like grocery shopping, and nobody ever questioned me just carrying in bags full of groceries. And I was in the quality assurance department, so we had all types of stuff that needed to be refrigerated, like calibration stuff for the HPLC machine needed to be refrigerated, and like our swab things, they were like these plunger type looking things, like you pull the end out, swab it, put the end back in, and then it goes into this machine type thing and tells you like how much bacteria is on there. I don't know how the fuck it works, but those had to be refrigerated. A bunch of other stuff like that. So we had a couple of fridges back there and a freezer to work with. Nobody ever questioned me. I'm just like full bags of groceries, like fruits and vegetables, and there's like a pound of spinach in there. Like, no, and I'm just because I have to walk into the building, go past like the break room, out into the production area, like follow the wall along, because like the quality assurance was set off of the production area, go into my department, back into one of the labs where the fridge was. That shit for years, no one ever said like, why are you walking in here with groceries? Like, what the hell's happening right now? But oh my God, like they were on my ass all the time if I would talk to other people. I would still get my job done. I wouldn't make mistakes. I'd do it. Everyone loved my job performance, but always writing me up and on my ass for talking. Till one day I just woke up and said, fuck you, I quit. Click. Didn't even talk to him in person. Just left a voicemail like, yeah, I quit. Fucking dickheads. I miss a bunch of my coworkers though. That was a really fun job, especially in the summertime when the college help would show up. One of the chicks, oh, she was fucking thick, big old fat ass white girl. Oh, it was so good. Can't remember what her name was. Not important. But Jake, our little guy, little wiry, computer like nerdy looking type guy. He was cool. I liked his sense of humor. So quiet. I was constantly yelling at him like, you gotta talk louder, man, because in a lot of production area or the tank room, if like a sanitation's happening, like you gotta wear hearing protection. It's loud and echoey. And he's always talking like timid, like real quiet. Tone of voice like, come on, Jake, you gotta. I don't need to keep telling you this every day. Like, you gotta talk louder. Come on. But damn it, quality assurance at a Pepsi bottler. What? That was a lot of fun. I wish they would. Fuck, I wish they would have just left me alone. I told them in my interview, like while I was interviewing for this position, I'm like, I'm just gonna tell you right now, man. I'm like weird. I'm like sort of like eccentric and shit like that, but I understand that tasks need to be done. I can follow them. I have good attention to detail. I like science stuff and note taking and record keeping and shit like that. So every time I get in trouble, I'd be like, so like, bottom line, am I not doing my job? No, you're doing your job just great. Are my coworkers in my department like complaining that I'm slacking on my end and making them pick up work that I should be doing? Like, no, none of that. Like, they have positive things to say about you. You're wasting so much of my time in these fucking meetings, like writing me up and lecturing me, and fuck you. All because I talk to people. Like, how do you expect me to do my job without talking to people? I see you, my boss. I see my own boss. Online shopping. That's not part of your fucking job, you cocksucker. Watching ESPN sports highlights. That is not part of your fucking job. Yet you're going to yell at me for this shit, and I would call him out every time. I'm like, Chad, I see you doing these things. Like, are you getting paid to do these things? Well, no. How the fuck can you do this to me then, you fucking... How do you expect me to take you seriously when I watch you breaking the fucking rules, and now you're just going to cry and like write me up and shit because I talk to people? So eventually I got sick of it. I miss it. I miss that money. Good God, I made so much fucking money there. If I worked on a Sunday for any reason, it was almost $45 an hour. And it'd usually be like 6 to 8 hours we'd be there on Sundays. And I wouldn't have to do anything. Like once an hour, I would grab bottles off of a line, run them through machinery, and enter the results into a computer. For like $43 and change an hour. But all of that money just did not outweigh like, oh my God, Chris, fucking fat cunt on third shift, a woman team leader, had an affair with our boss at one point. So everything she said went. He just believed her 100%, blindly believed her. She hated all the men in our department, and like me specifically, because I was the new target. I was like one of the last people, like while I was still there, one of the last people hired in that department, and she's just literally a cunt. Everyone hated her. Every single fucking person hated her. She hated me and was banging our boss. So like, I would see her on the phone, like her just talking to her husband, like, I'm pretty sure like calling your husband is not part of your job. But that was okay to do. But I can't talk to other people that work in that building. She would complain to our boss, I just see Mike sitting around talking all the time. And then he would just go on that like, oh, I keep telling you this, so I got to write you up. I'm like, fuck, you got to tell that fat motherfucking cunt Chris, stay out of my goddamn business. I should have just told him, like, Chad, everyone knows that you guys had an affair. So, like, you everything she says goes with you. Like, we all see through this fucking shit. We're all sick of it. I was the only one. Well, Brent didn't have kids, but he was married. Everyone else Corey didn't have kids either, but he was married. So everyone else, like, they had just bought a house, or they were married with kids and trying to buy a house. So then none of them other dudes had the fucking luxury to just quit like I did. So you could see like just slowly like being drugged down into misery, because I would fight back against this fat cunt Chris. Like, I'm not going to put up with you fucking trying to ruin my livelihood. I don't care if you fucking hate me as a person. I hate you too, as a matter of fact. But I'm not trying to destroy your livelihood. I'm not trying to get you fired or constantly in trouble, you fucking bitch. So you want to fucking do that to me? I'm not just going to sit back and take it. I had some things work. We had some instances where I got as many people on my side as I could, and we all just sort of attacked her collectively. But those fixes were only temporary. It would work for like a month or like a month and a half, but then she would just slowly slide back into her old ways of being a cunt again. Makes no sense. Why do you do this? I'm there for a fucking paycheck, period. I don't care about almost all of you. Again, I made some friends that I still keep in contact with, and they're cool as fuck. I like them. But everyone else, like, you mean absolutely nothing to me. I don't care about your politics or your delusions of hierarchy in this fucking Pepsi bottler. Fuck you. So I had the production manager, like, he liked me a lot. I was real and straight with him. So he would kind of be on my side and sort of stand up for me and shit. But then my own actual boss wouldn't. It's so weird. Luckily, again, I work second shift, so I was there. We worked like 10.5-hour days. So I get there like 1:30 to, 2:30 to 1 in the morning. So my actual boss, he was gone by 3:30 at the latest every day. So then the production boss would be like our de facto boss, I guess. We technically didn't have a boss because we're quality assurance and we don't answer to anyone. We're the fucking sheriff of that shit. But he was cool as fuck, Dan. Literally far and away the best boss ever because he knew how to fucking govern people. And he knew how to be fair, and he wasn't just like the, you have to have fun at work. You have to. And he was a prankster back in his production days before he became boss, so he understood it. You can't slave drive people and expect them to fucking fight for you. Dude, I would do anything he asked me to do just because of the way he treated me as a human being. It was amazing. But my actual boss was the worst when it came to fucking human interaction. He had no business being a boss at all. But he probably kissed ass right. He kissed the right person's ass enough fucking times. And because the stories that the people would tell about our boss, the quality assurance boss, before he became the boss, were he would leave to go have lunch with girlfriends. Like, he would just leave for hours, have other people covering his work. And now this motherfucker wants to fucking try to... Ain't happening. Like, are you so dumb that you don't even think like, maybe the people that have been here forever, that have seen the way I was when I just was a normal production employee, are going to tell stories about how I was as a production employee before I became boss. Like, this thought never crosses your fucking mind. You don't think like we're going to like be like, yeah, how Chad is as a boss is the exact opposite as what he was when he's just a fucking regular production worker. Now it's like this is all gone to his head, and like everything that he did, he's punishing you for. How do you respect that type of person? Ever? It was just a smile and nod. Yep, okay, I'll do that. I'll do exactly what you're telling me to do. And the second I left that office, I would just go back to doing whatever the fuck I wanted to do. And it was totally fine for weeks and weeks and weeks. But then all of a sudden that Chris bitch would get something up her ass and go crying to fucking our boss that she had an affair with. And then I'm right back in the same situation again. Just telling them directly, like, why do we have to keep going through this, man? Like, I'm telling you right now, like, this is how I am. I'm not lying when I say I hate working. I hate that I waste like a quarter of my life fucking working. All right? And he's like, yeah, me too. I'm like, no, I'm dead fucking serious. Like, if you can find a way where I can work from home, I don't even have to show up here, that would be perfect. So, why these fucking... I don't know where I was going with that, but I hate the hypocrisy. It makes no sense. Like, I know, we all know how you used to be, and all of a sudden you're the boss and you totally act like we're not even, none of us are leaving for hours at a time, but you used to. Everyone knows you used to. But you're going to write me up for talking. Kiss my ass, you fucking prick. Chad Hyman. Fucking. All you had to do was leave me alone, man. I never would have quit. I tried telling you that. Just let me be. I'm eccentric. I do weird stuff. But I understand that I have tasks to do and I'm going to do them and they're going to be correct. Which was true the whole time, you fucking idiot. But you just couldn't. Whoever the fuck. Oh, Mike is talking too much? Who cares? How are you noticing this? Don't you have your own fucking work to do? That should be your response to this type of shit. Mind your own fucking business. But nope. You lost a good employee. After the fucking live watch videos back, I told a story about this one goofy motherfucker. Jesus Christ. That once they hired that person, I knew my boss was retarded. Because he hired a retarded person. That's no exaggeration. I don't know what episode it is. Yeah, there's only 8 of them so far. But it's a couple back. I start off with it immediately. And it'll be a story about this creepy, like crazy, goofy motherfucker that I worked with. Go watch that. The story I tell of this guy, you won't believe it's true, but I promise you it's real. I'll fucking... Maybe one of these... Like, if you need proof, I'll see if someone can videotape him. I have a couple. I found some videos, but it doesn't show him being crazy. It's just him on this platform, like putting folded up 12-pack boxes into this machine and like smashing a box on a pallet to break it down. But goddamn, they hired this fucking goofy motherfucker. Didn't catch on, man. In like 6 weeks, he made no advancement in understanding this department. So they kicked him out. Didn't fire him, but they just kicked him out into the production area. But what type of judgment calls are you making where you hire a fucking retarded person? And I'm supposed to respect you as a boss? Nah, not when my team leader Corey is like 1 billion times smarter than you. And like a dude on first shift, Mark, that had been there for 35 fucking years, like does 90% of your job for you anyway. Like ordering like sugar and scheduling the sugar trucks and keeping like notes and records of like inventory and stuff. Dude, Mark was doing most of our boss's actual job. So our boss had plenty of time to online shop and watch ESPN highlights. It's fucking weird. I don't understand any of it. Everyone is just... It seems impossible to just tell someone, like, if you're a supervisor or a boss or something and you got this bad apple that's always like, oh, this person is always doing this, and this person is always doing that, and I always see this person with this. That is the person you say, shut the fuck up. Get the fuck out of my office. Unless something is, like, imminently bad happening, get the fuck out of here. Nope. You'll actually listen to these people, which only fuels their fucking insanity even more. So now they feel like, oh, I got to be the sheriff of this place and I got to turn everyone in for anything. Fuck you. I'm glad I'm in the position where I could just fucking quit. I miss the money. I miss the fucking cool friends and stuff like that. It was a lot of fun sometimes, but I don't miss the stress and the fucking misery of just constantly being told you're doing shit wrong, even though you're doing your job right. Everything about your job performance is great. But personality-wise, how dare you talk to people? You should be fucking miserable at work, right? Kiss my ass. Ugh. Anybody want to call? Have a little chitty chat? About anything? About Nick Cage playing fucking Tiger King? That should be pretty fun. Hopefully he does a good job at that. If there's anyone that deserves to be Joe Exotic, it's Nick Cage. God damn it, let's get some fucking vintage, like late 90s, early 1000s Nick. Oh, actually, I don't know how old Nick Cage is because Tiger King's like in his 50s. So he seems old as hell. Nick Cage has got to be 50 to 60. Oh, that'd be cool. Hopefully it's. Oh, it's gonna be. Damn it! I think it'd be like. Is it on network TV? If it's on network TV, it's probably not even going to be worth it. Because if you can't hear Nick Cage say Carol fucking Baskin, don't even film it. Oh, I'm snagged. Snagged wire. Be back. Sitting in the morning sun. I'll be sitting when the evening comes, watching the ships roll in, and I watch them roll away again. Yeah. What about that other Netflix thing? Is there another Netflix Tiger King thing happening? Is that out? Like, I don't know if it has all the crazy characters in it or what the fuck the point of it is actually about, but I know there's no Joe Exotic still in prison. Let's get him out of there. Get him out of prison. Just let him out. Fucking he said he was sorry. Just let, like that old Saturday Night Live sketch with the Hurley boy, fucking Chris Farley and Adam Sandler, where Adam Sandler is like mildly retarded person where you're trying to employ these people, like get them into some type of work. So if you're going out of town for the weekend or whatever, you hire this service, and a little friend of the little chap like Adam Sandler will come along, and he'll keep an eye on your house. And it'd always end up with Chris Farley getting so mad because like, come on, you're going away for the week. Just let him stay in your house. You're not going to be there. He's not going to do anything. Just let him stay in your house. It'll be fine. And then he just keeps ramping up like, for the love of God, just let the boy stay in your house. He said he'd change the sheets. Chris Farley would get so fucking worked up and all the super excitable body language and stuff. And I miss fucking good Saturday Night Live. It's just bad now. And I was one of those people that fucking defended it forever. Through the 90s, through the 2000s, like the lulls and the fucking bad shit, but god damn it. Like the last, seems like once the people, so like Fred Armisen and god damn it, what's the dude? What the fuck is, so he was on 30 Rock, he was Floyd on 30 Rock. What the fuck is his name? He's married to like that hot chick 13 from House. Anyway, like that era was like the Fred Armisen. I think like Bill Hader and shit was on at that time too. That was like the last good one. Now it's like when you had Taron Killam on there, he was funny, never really developed into anything special though, but he would always do like those Gettysburg Address critic, like the 1840s newspaper critic, and it was like Blockbuster sketches or whatever, McDonald's sketches were like those two, like Bobby Moynihan and whoever else, they'd snap off on their coworkers, and he was always like the creepy fucking murderer in the back with the dead eyes. Like, he was funny with that stuff, but now, dude, I don't know. Last season, I don't know, like Leslie Jones is not funny. Fucking come on. Adie Bryant is hilarious. So she is a fucking asset. Like, I don't know if Cecily Strong is still on there. She's good. But, like, I don't know. For, like, who's the fucking, I don't know if the one dude, he kind of had, like, the alien face. He was never in very many sketches. Like, he was funny. They got rid of him. I can't remember if the other, I think, like the curly-haired, like, white dude, like, skinny, sort of nerdy, awkward type guy is still there. Absolutely worthless is Pete fucking Davidson. Jesus Christ. How is this guy just like stumbling his way through life? He's not funny at all. Have you watched it or tried to watch his stand-up shit? 90% like smoking weed humor. Like, okay, is your target audience like 14-year-old boys who are just discovering, like, ooh, look at this fucking hip culture that I can get into. And it's like, ugh. You have butthole eyes, you fucking idiot. Like, why do you have, like, fucking, like, black, like, super dark brown? Look, your eyes look like assholes. And you're not funny. Like, you haven't done one single funny thing on SNL. All you do is fucking ruin the flow of sketches because you either can't remember your fucking lines or you're too dumb to properly read like in a fluid manner off a cue card. God damn, fire that fucking idiot. He sucks at everything. His stand-up sucks. He sucks on SNL. He's not funny. He has asshole eyes. Fuck you, Pete Davidson. You are fucking a piece of shit human. God damn. Hey, let's get a fucking Ariana Grande tattoo or whoever that dumb bitch was that you fucking thought you were gonna marry. That was the one, right, old Pete? You guys are so in love. Yeah, let's get like a bunny ears tattoo or so, you fucking fuckboy. Jesus Christ. We all want to be younger again and like have more time at life to try things better and have better outcomes, but I'm glad I am in the fucking age group that I am because we all seem to be self-sufficient. We can handle tasks on our own. We can answer questions without shitting our pants, and now you got this fucking piece of shit fuckboy generation. Jesus Christ. You're absolutely worthless. You took the safe space generation and like, wait a minute, we can be even more pathetic and fucking emasculine, and fuck all of you. Who would want to fucking marry you or even date you, or how would you ever ask a woman out? Is that a thing that women like now? Like I can't even make eye contact with another human being. Like, is that appealing? Fuck you, people. You have no fucking confidence. Like, what happened to you? And how dumb are your fucking parents? Your parents are probably my age. Like, how did they fuck up so goddamn bad? I'm telling you right now, like, raising kids isn't that hard. My parents aren't fucking geniuses. And they shit out 4 of them like boom, 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 boom. They're not geniuses at all. Yet they gave us the fucking freedom to like figure things out on our own and like learn through experience and not help. We lived on a farm, man. Like I never told my parents like I'm going to be in that quadrant of the field over there. Like, no, you disappeared for 8 hours and you were just gone. Now it's just like, oh my God, he's on the sidewalk. Get off of the sidewalk, sweetheart. Oh my, stay on the porch, sweetheart. You wonder why your kids are all a bunch of fuckboys that can't even answer a question. Can you saw this in half for me? What is, oh my God, a human is asking me a question? Now I'm going to shit my pants. Jesus Christ, fucking pathetic. And these people think that they're fucking geniuses and they got everything all figured out. You are absolutely fucking worthless is what you are. Oh, you think that using the correct words makes you a good person and every fucking 2 weeks, like a tranny is called a new thing, and now there's 8 different fucking genders, which is impossible. But we're going to pretend that it's real, that these aren't serious mental illnesses. You think you're so much better than like older generations because you use fancy words and you come up with new words for stuff and you invent new. I hate all you so much. You're so helpless. And geez, you fucking, oh, goddamn it. Just go to Florida and we'll light it on fire. Be done with you. See what the fuck I have going on in here. Yeah, I think I covered like most of that shit. But last week I started talking about a story I was going to tell. So I'm going to 11:30. I'm going to take a little break here and then oh wait, I should go back. Yeah, I'm going to take a little break here, take a pee, get some more water, and then I'll be back and I'll dive into this Dyatlov Pass story. If you don't know what that it's about, it's these crazy Russians and shit from the 50s. They're trying to become certified for some stuff, and everything goes really, really bad. So when I come back, I'll get into that in a minute. All right. So I was starting to get into this last week a little bit, and then some heroin junkie from Florida called in, interrupted me telling the story, and then talked to him for like 70 minutes, and then he ended up getting super mad at me. Because that's, you don't expect junkies to be like, like smart, rational people, but whatever. So, the Dyatlov Pass incident. February 1959. You got this group of Soviet Russians. It's like, God damn it, how many were there? 9 of them, okay? So there's like different levels of mountaineering and shit like that you can achieve. And these were level 2 people going for the top position of level 3 mountaineering certification for like hiking and survival and shit like that. So go out of this part, the Ural Mountains, working their way through there. Now to get the certification, you got to do some things. You have to go so far out and then back. You have to be gone for X amount of days, do a certain amount of shit, like while you're trying to achieve your goals here. So they all go out. Everything starts off good. There was originally 10 of them. I feel like, I don't know how long into it, one of them got sick with something and had to go back. So the remaining 9 proceed on. They end up at this place where the incident happened, and I guess like conditions may have been a little less than favorable. So they decide to set up camp for the night, wait for things, see how things will be tomorrow. So they get all set up. They're hunkered down on the side of this hill. So they got experience in, these are legit. Like they're all fully capable. Every single one of these people is fully capable of surviving in these environments. Because they're already level 2, so they're already like professionals. Now they're just going for like the top of the cream of the crop. So wild speculation as to what the fuck actually happened, but basically they're all tented down for the night. Super cold outside. You're in the fucking mountains in February in the Ural Mountains. Something happened that caused these people, from the evidence from the tent, the way the tent was cut, they were in such a hurry to get the fuck out of this tent, out into where it's night, bad conditions. They like knifed their way out of the tent. Now, what in the hell could be going on inside of that tent that would make them frantically try to get out to where the door wasn't an option? Or like there was no evidence of avalanche. Nothing. The part of the mountain that they were on, like it wasn't steep enough, because these are experienced people. They wouldn't set up shop in a spot that would put them in danger if they know like conditions are deteriorating, like wind is whipping up. Like we're probably not going to be staying on a steep incline that could be in the path of an avalanche. So there was no evidence of an avalanche happening. So it's not like an avalanche was coming and they heard like a rumble, or they got buried and they couldn't get out the door and they had to like cut their way out. There was no avalanche. Yet for some reason, these people were in such a fucking hurry to get out of that tent that they cut their way out. So that's the first weird thing. Now they're outside. Some of them have appropriate clothing on. Others don't. It's known that some of them left the tent without proper footwear because their boots and shit were still in the tent. Others had boots on, fully clothed with multiple layers, proper outer jacket and shit. There's also evidence that shows that once they started dying, the people who were still alive were taking the clothes off of the dead people to put on themselves. Because like some of them were found with like one sock, just like boxer shorts and like a sweatshirt on. So they're pretty sure that that person had more clothes on at some point, although not footwear because a lot of their footwear was still in the tent. So they flee the tent in panic-filled fleeing for some reason. Like it doesn't make any fucking sense. So then some of them start a little fire. So they were near the edge of the woods where they put their tent. So they flee to the edge of the woods, like down the hill towards the woods. Pitch black. Like there's evidence that if anything, like one of them may have had a light on them. But otherwise, they were just out in the darkness. It's probably shit weather, so there's not even a moon. They ended up getting to the fucking woods, and it shows like they cleared branches like several meters up on these pine trees or whatever, and they had started a fire. So they were sound enough of mind to understand, like, okay, like we need to get a fire going and how to do a fire, climb the tree to get branches. It's shitty conditions, but these are experts, keep in mind. So it's got to be fucking like windy. You're still able to get a fire going because they had fucked around enough in this woods after they frantically cut their way out of the tent. So like they cleared branches off. They had to have been there for a considerable amount of time. Once those motherfuckers died of hypothermia, so there was three. I think three of them were dead by the trees, and they had most of their clothes taken off of them. Three other ones had attempted to make their way back to the tent. They all died in positions that would suggest that they were on their way back to the tent, like trying to make it back up this mountainside. And all three of them they died at various closeness to the tent. Like it was just like a line of them. Then the other three couldn't be found. So like once they never came back, rescue teams were sent out. So they found the tent and the first six of them, I believe, right away. Those six died from hypothermia. So the conditions just got them. But then they're like, well, where the fuck are the other three people? So it took months later, like once the snow started to melt a bit, someone discovered them like down even farther down the hill, like deep into the woods where like this ravine was. So there'd be like a big drop off down into this ravine. Three of them were in that fucking ravine with massive internal injuries with very little damage showing on the outside of their body, which is like similar to like a car accident, like a 45 mile an hour car accident. Like you may look okay on the outside, but inside your shit is destroyed. So like one of them had a fractured skull, two other had major chest fractures. And so like one of them was missing its tongue. One of them was missing the eyes. I think another one was missing one eye. That could be scavenger, like an animal just stumble along. It's soft tissue. Like those are going to be maybe like cartilage on your nose or ears. They're going to like your eyelids and stuff. They'll eat off lips, things like that. Soft tissue before you are deep frozen. So them missing like their eyes and tongue and shit isn't really concerning to me. But the physical trauma that these people had, like they were destroyed internally. And I can't remember how far this ravine was that they fell into. But it doesn't seem like enough to fracture skulls and just to completely smash you internally. So then the question is, what the fuck would cause these people, like, and there's pictures, like the rescue crews and shit, like took pictures. You can see like the real pictures of these. Like they have fucking just terrified looks on their faces. Like, I think one of them was found with like a pencil and a pad of paper. Like, they were aware that something was happening. But what the fuck would cause you to flee your tent, especially without proper footwear? Like, why were you in such a hurry to get out of that tent to begin with? That is the most mind-blowing thing. It doesn't make any... These are experts, man, at dealing with this mountain shit in these weather conditions. If anyone on earth would know not to leave a tent in that middle of winter mountain without shoes on, it's those people. Yet they did. They left that tent with such desperation and panic that they cut their fucking way out without their fucking shoes on the side of a mountain in the middle of winter. What in the fuck could cause you to do that? 9 of you did this. Were you all overcome? So there's like things like these infrasound where like wind moving through mountains can, and it's true, like a real phenomenon, can generate certain frequencies that can fuck with you psychologically and like make it think like maybe like a sense of impending doom can be swept over you and your collective, because you're all in this tent, pretty big tent, 9 people tent, but you're all experiencing like the same sound. Or what the hell was this catabatic winds, or what the hell, how you call this? So like this weather phenomenon where like super cold air from high up in the atmosphere can for some reason be like pushed down. So you'll get like hurricane type winds. But I mean, their tent was still in its spot. And just because there's super high winds doesn't mean you would have to flee your tent in panic. Plus they started a fire. They were able to start a fire and keep it going. And like have enough common sense to like keep collecting, like clearing branches from these trees. It's fucking weird, man. They say animal attacks, but I mean, what animal would... So if you're desperately trying to get out of your tent, that means the animal is already in your tent. Well, how the fuck did it get in your tent? There's no bears just creeping around on mountainsides. So what type of animal could you possibly be so afraid of that somehow managed to be already in your tent before you guys were taking your clothes off, your shoes off, and then all of a sudden, what, you realize there's a wild animal in your tent? You didn't notice it before? Animal attack, out. Avalanche, out. The catabatic wind thing, out. They were able to start fires and shit. A high wind wouldn't freak them out to the point of needing to cut their way out of their own fucking tent. Why you would leave the safety? That's all you have is that tent. What the fuck happened in that tent that made 9 of you all agree that getting the fuck out of this tent was the best thing to do? What the fuck could possibly be happening? Seriously, like, this has been a head scratcher for like 70 fucking years or whatever. 60 years ish. What the fuck? And then why? What was the rationale? They had to have gotten separated almost immediately. Because if you're fleeing a tent in panic in the middle of the night in shit weather conditions on the side of a mountain in the middle of winter, you're fleeing in panic. Like I said, maybe one of them had a light on them. So it's got to be just pitch black. How you ever made it to like groups of 3 is beyond me. But for 3, maybe you were all together at some point, and then why 3 of you would progress even farther into the woods? You got to be running blind. It's pitch fucking black. What is terrifying you so much that you're doing this? Fuck, this is so, it is so bizarre. But I don't know, it's fascinating. Like I love stuff like this. How it's like, you get stories like 2 people, mountain tragedy, like something happened and shit turned out bad. But 9 people are all experiencing something so fucking terrifying that they have to cut their way out and just flee their fucking tent without proper footwear and clothing. No light. God damn, that is just an amazing mystery. It is, they did, every action they took is the exact opposite of what you should be doing. So something had to have driven them to do. They all knew, like, you shouldn't be doing this, like running outside without proper footwear. Fuck, what? Then there's other rumors of like Soviet weapons testing, like some type of pressure weapon that would explode and like the pressure wave would fuck you up. But if that's the case, like, why would that cause them to flee their tent? Maybe the people with the massive internal injuries, like they were in the wrong spot at the wrong time and like one of these pressure bombs exploded somewhere near them and like blasted them down into this ravine. That would make sense for them, but just like because some like pressure bombs are exploding doesn't mean you would like frantically cut your way out of your tent and just run into the pitch blackness and then start a fire. Like, and then so if you're afraid of like other people being out there, because that's another thing, it was Soviet military stumbled upon them and murdered all of them. You wouldn't start a fire if you were trying to stay unavoided, like, oh my God, other people are out here and they're trying to kill us. You would not start a fire. Pretty easy to find them if they had a fire going. I've run as many fucking scenarios and even like just wildly crazy scenarios as I could possibly think of through my mind. That what would drive me and 8 other people? Like none of them were like, dude, this is a bad idea. We might want to rethink this. Steve, you don't even have your fucking boots on. What are you doing, man? So what the fuck? They all were overcome with this mass delusion instantly and they're like, fuck, we got to get out of here. And then once they were out of there, like some of them they all came back to reality like, oh shit, like what the hell are we doing? It's pitch black. Where's the fucking tent? Well, I think we're by some trees. I guess we should start a fire. And 3 of them try to make their way back to the tent and die of hypothermia because they're not properly clothed. What the fuck? Yeah, I highly suggest fucking digging into that shit, man. The Dyatlov Pass incident. It is fascinating. And I think next week I'll do, how long have I been going on this? Yeah, I started late. Yeah, we're 2 hours in. That's probably good enough now. I'm starting to get hungry. So I highly encourage people, like a lot of these fucking people that put together like mini docs on YouTube and shit. It'll be, aliens, of course. Aliens had her hand in this and every fantastical thing you can think of, from Yetis and aliens. It's like, I give a shit about reality, okay? Something physically happened that made these people react in a way that they did. You don't need aliens. You don't need abominable snowmen. The answer lies in reality, and motherfucker, I want to know what it is. But it's just fascinating. So, Dyatlov Pass incident, if you're curious about that. And then next week, okay, there's got to be way more stories than just this one I'm going to get into. But 1800s seemed like, and okay, 1800s and prior seemed like the golden age to just kill people and get away with it. So we're going to get into the story of Alfred Packer. And what a wild adventure this motherfucker went on. So yeah, next week I'll dive into that. It's mind-blowing how I mean, how, I don't want to say like gullible, but whether you're just so dumb or you're trustworthy and you're trusting people for whatever fucking reasons, even though like everything about them, like their red flags should be popping off everywhere, but you still trust them and believe them and be like, sure, come on. So this Alfred guy, he's got a tale to tell, and I'm going to tell it for him. So next week I'll get into that. And hopefully you'll join me because it is nuts. And hopefully you'll dig into the Dyatlov Pass incident thing too, because I like interesting stuff like that. I'm going to try to dig up some more of it, and hopefully we'll find that type of stuff and talk about it more in the future. So heading out for now. See you probably next week, maybe if not before. I am pretty wrapped up with this bass guitar stuff, designing that, but kind of at a standstill now for seems like the time being because I can't seem to get the equipment I want. Everything is sold out. So maybe I'll start doing a little more video edits again, get some Joe Exotic edits going in the meantime before I can start woodworking again. And oh, I see a bunch of people just showed up right now that I'm ending the stream, so sorry. Hopefully you'll kick it in next week again. So good night!